Am I just looking?
Look at the camera. We're actually live on the ACC network, and we're with them.
Look at the good-looking camera guy.
All right, well, I have to go to another room.
We want to welcome everybody back here, and those of you watching on the ACC network. We're in a room with local television cameras as well, and Mike Krzyzewski, the head coach of Duke, is here. Mike, if you would you begin by just talking about how early practice has gone and your expectations for this team?
Well, the practices have gone well. We've been knocked back a little bit with 2 injuries. Marshall Plumlane has a stress fracture in his second metatarsal in his right foot. Non-surgical repair, but he could be out for about a month, and hopefully just a month. And he's been playing really well, and so that's a setback for us. And then Seth Curry's has had limited practice because of a leg injury, and hopefully we can manage that where he can get significant playing time as we start the season. But the attitude's great. We've had a little bit unusual time with our team because fall break occurred with the start of practice, and so we were able to spend a little bit more time. We had a clinic at Duke for about 500 coaches. So that's an all-day thing, and then we went to Fort Bragg for 24 hours and really took advantage of being at Fort Bragg and having practice for the troops. So very happy with where we're at right now. They got a day off today and they can use it.
If you have a question, we're going to get a microphone to you in a moment. And Coach, I want to start with the Fort Bragg, and you, of course, with your background and everything I hear about it, that was such a special day. Could you talk about it and what it meant to your team?
Well, it's a great day for us. You know, you get better by being in places where there are great people and great things are happening. And so it's like being on hollow ground going to Fort Bragg and being with the best team in the world, our military, and the most respected part of our society, you know, the military. And for our guys to spend time and, you know, live in the barracks, you know, have a team meeting there, and PT in the morning, running with the troops, leadership reaction course, obstacle course, practice, and then we gave a little presentation for about 50 minutes to the leadership at Fort Bragg. It was just a full day, and our team loved it, and I think the troops loved it too.
Start our questions and go back to the back here.
Coach, you've had some great leaders play for you at Duke. What do you look for and expect from a leader at Duke?
Well, I would expect not just at Duke, but from a leader is consistency and always seeking excellence of him or herself and of the unit or team that they're responsible for. And that requires constant vigilance by that person, and you know, for them to, first of all, lead by example, lead in a very truthful manner so that they can gain the trust of the unit. And I don't think you gain the trust of your unit unless you're working hard every day, and it's not just what you say, it's what you say and do. And I think we have good leadership on our team. We're trying to teach leadership to go to even higher level with our senior class, Mason, Ryan, and Seth.
Right here, WTVD.
Coach, what's your take on the target shifting there to the east in Raleigh? Good for your team to get out of the spotlight a little bit, good for the league?
Well, I think it's good for people. You know, there are a lot of good teams. You know, I'm not sure that a target ever shifts off of us. You know, in fact, I'm sure a target does not shift off of us. There just may be more targets, and you know, this is my 33rd year in the league, and you know, for us, what we're predicted to do and what we do is much more important than what we're predicted to do. So that's what we'll spend our time doing.
Hey, Coach, obviously you've had some seasons where you're more front court heavy and then others where it's back court. But this year you've got a good balance with the front court and back court. Can you talk about that and how it's going to help you throughout the season?
Well, I actually think we have a better front court, you know, right now with Mason and Ryan. You have 2 seniors who are really good players and are are at their best right now that they've ever been in their careers. So I think that's where you start off with our team, and we have to get a high level of consistency from them, and I think we can. Seth, especially when he's healthy, gives us a very experienced perimeter player, but then the other guys are young, and they're good. But then if they have that base of knowing that those two guys are there all the time, and Seth is there, I think that can expedite or speed up their, their improvement process.
Mike Solarte.
Coach, as you look around the league itself, and Joe's already mentioned NC State, are you seeing the level of this league rising even more?
Yeah, I try not to look around the league that much because I try to look primarily just at our team until we start playing in the league. I said this when the coaches were meeting this morning, that I think our league is at a great point right now because we brought in so many good coaches in a short period of time, and now a number of them have had 2 or 3 years to establish their own programs. And so I think our league will be better as a result of having this consistency. Obviously, we have one new coach, but even he was an assistant in his program. So that familiarity is going to be there now about being in the ACC, being at their schools. They have many of their own players now from recruiting. And I think it'll translate into an even tougher conference, top to bottom.
Back over here.
You did a great job of coaching the United States to another gold medal. Is there anything you can take from that experience that you can bring back to your team at Duke?
Yeah, you can take a lot of stuff that you learned from the Olympics back. First of all, just being coaching for that time and learning from your own individual players and the staff you're with, but you also learn a lot from coaching against your opponents. There's so many good things that they do. The offensive schemes of France, Brazil, Argentina, Spain, Lithuania, those teams. We've tried to incorporate some of the things that we learned from them into what we're doing at Duke for this year.
Coach, you touched on it briefly, but just talk about how valuable it is having such good senior leadership like Seth and Mason and Ryan in a league like the ACC.
Well, Charlie, it's not like having a veteran cameraman. You're sure that the shot's going to be taken, and they've been there before, and these guys give me confidence going in, and then they need to give their younger players confidence. And I've been talking to both Ryan and Mason a lot about not just to be concerned about their games, but their games have to be elevated, and for them to have an influence on the other guys, to pat them on the back, tell them as they're achieving, because the guys on the team look up to those two guys. And I'm not sure they realize it to the extent that they need to yet, but I think they're realizing a little bit more and more as the practices move along.
Of the young players, Mike, has any one of them really stood out here in the few practices that you
I think we have 4. I think really from the preseason, Marshall probably stood out the most because he gained 25 pounds, he's 7 feet, 240 pounds, and he runs well and is filled with energy. But Alex, if we had to start a game today, we'd start Alex at one of the wings. And then Rashid and Emil are really good athletes who can play a couple different positions.
Your season ended last year not the way you wanted it to, with the loss at Lehigh. Is that something that can motivate a team in the off season, or a lesson you can learn from that?
Well, 28 of the 32 seasons I've coached have not ended the way I wanted them to end. So, that last year was a little bit more unusual because it ended in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I would not want our team to try to be motivated by what happened last year. Just even if we won the national championship, I'd want them to put last year behind them and focus on this year, because even if that's motivation, I think it'll only be motivation for a short period of time. I think you have to have bigger goals to make up for the Lehigh game.
Here.
Coach, obviously a very busy summer. Did you get any downtime, vacation, and recharge your battery heading into this year?
I got a little bit of time off. You know, I feel really good, and I like my team a lot. And it's not like I'm going from the Olympics to something I don't like. You know, I'm going from the Olympics to something I've done my whole life that I like, and where I'm doing it I like. So I'm good. You know, I feel I'm in good shape and very enthusiastic about my team. My team is a team that's capable of giving us energy while we give them energy. And if we can, you know, anytime you have that combination, good things can happen.
Let's go one more question. Tom Morgan.
Coach, when you say out loud, this is my 33rd year in the league, do you have a hard time believing that? And do you reflect back and think how lucky I've been to be involved in this?
Well, if I'm looking in a mirror, I have no hard time looking at that. I don't believe in that. Sometimes I said, sure it's not 43. And, I think if I reviewed tapes of my first 3 years, I'd say it's phenomenal that I'm here for 33 years. But overall, I'm very lucky. Been part of the best conference at one of the greatest schools. And I'm going to use the same approach I've used every year. I'm going to try to play this season and for this season and get in their moments and see what will happen. And that's been a good formula for me.
Coach, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
We'll have more on